Hey everybody, welcome to the ARC CMS instructional video for Annenberg Media. I'm Graham Steckline. I work here to help support digital production in the Media Center.
I'm Nancy. I'm a senior studying public relations at Annenberg.
I'm Steven. I work with Nancy on the web production team as an editor.
Steven and Nancy are wonderful resources to help anyone watching this do their job working as an Annenberg Media reporter. So we're going over the ARC publishing content management system. Okay, the first step working with ARC, you're going to need to log in through Okta. You're going to need to be sent an Okta invite. If you don't have that set up already, you need to contact myself, Steven, or Nancy. You can go through your editor if you're working for a particular desk, but you'll need to have an invite sent from a company called Okta. You cannot just go to okta.com to log in. You can't go to arc.com. You need to go to a specific URL. If you want to memorize that, that's fine. But otherwise, there's a link below the video where you can click on a link straight to the URL. Also strongly encourage you just bookmark this once you're set up so you don't have to think about it ever again.
The username is going to be your USC email.
If you forget your password, send a Slack message to one of us. The easiest thing is to reset it with a temporary password. Okay, some people get confused. They think our website runs on Okta or something like that. Okta is an identity management platform. Okta is not a content management system. Okta is like a login portal. You can log in through Okta and access a bunch of different things. We just use it for one thing, which is to access ARC publishing. People are going to get confused about this. Some people will say like, oh, our website runs on Okta, or I put my story on Okta. That's not what Okta is for. It is just to log in. If you need your password reset, that's about all we ever do on Okta. And then everything else you're going to be working with is the ARC content management system. You probably only have one button here. Go ahead and click it. So what are we looking at?
So you guys are looking at the homepage of ARC Publishing. So this is what you're going to see when you just like log in and get to ARC. And so all of the tabs for like where you're going to go to create a story and to upload pictures is going to be at the side right there to the left. And then the smack in the middle is like, we get it from Chartbeat. It's the trending content for what's on the site currently. It just shows you how many people are viewing like a story and what the most popular stories are at this moment.
The first thing we want everyone to do when you access ARC for the first time is set up your author bio. This is really good to do before you publish any stories so that everything can be linked to your author profile correctly. So go ahead and hit this authors button. If you've been credited on a story, like if you know you've written a story and you have a byline already, but you just want to check, go ahead and put your name in the byline here. Looks like I'm not in the system, so I'm going to go ahead and hit new author. First thing when you fill out your author bio, put a username in. This is how ARC is going to identify you. This is like your ID as an author. Just do first letter. I'm filling out one for Tommy Trojan, so do first letter of your first name and your last name, all one word. Please don't put any punctuation in the username field or that can screw the system up. Then go ahead and put in your first name and your last name. Go ahead and click on your byline. It should automatically be filled out, but now when you click on it, you'll see your name appear in the upper left corner. This just means that ARC is now registering your byline. This does not have to be your legal name. This should be the name that you want to be credited by as an author on the site. You're going to leave almost everything on here blank. Don't worry about filling everything in. It's just not going to be publicly visible anywhere. Upload a photo. This is something that is going to work if you're using Google Chrome. ARC really doesn't play well with Safari or Firefox. So definitely use Google Chrome when you're trying to upload your photos or you're more likely to have trouble. When you're trying to zoom in or crop down your photo, give it a really long time. Hit update image and then really wait quite a while. Sometimes it takes, that was pretty quick, but then it should show up right later. Go ahead, fill out your author role. Unless you have a different title, you can be a multimedia journalist. You can skip area of expertise and then do put a bio in the short bio field or else your name won't show up underneath the story.
So when you're writing your bio, you want to avoid putting what year you are. Yeah, you can put things like your major and the types of journalism that you're interested in covering.
You could write where you're from, what you want to do. This should serve to represent you the way that you want to be known to your audience. But yeah, please don't put if you're a sophomore, junior, freshman. We just want this to be able to last for a while. You can update it later, but please make it easier on yourself and don't put something in here that you'll need to update. Ignore all of this stuff. Keep scrolling, until you get to your email. Do put in your USC email and then hit this make URL button twice. Once and then twice. You want it to say /author/your name. You want it to say author instead of people. This is going to be the URL where people will be able to see your author page. It'll be uscannenbergmedia.com/author and then your byline. You can put your Twitter handle here. And otherwise, you can leave the rest of this blank. Go ahead and hit save. Just hit save one time or you're going to confuse the system. And then once you're done, you can hit cancel and it'll just take you back to this list of all of our authors. So you can even check once you've got that all set up, you can check to see if it works by copy and pasting that URL. So copy what was in that URL field and put it at the end of uscannenbergmedia.com. And if things are working, you should be able to now look up your author bio on our website. So if you can do that, things are looking good. You exist in the author bio system. Things are looking good here, then you're ready to move on to the rest of the steps of working within the content management system. Go ahead and open up Composer.
To create a new story, you click create a new story, click default template, and then create story.
Okay, this is the Composer home screen. This is where you're going to take your story once you're done editing and load it up into the CMS so an editor can review and publish. It's organized into 5 different tabs. We're going to start on the planning tab, but you'll see it says planning, circulate, compose, meta, and featured media. These are the different tabs where you're going to enter all the content related to an article for uscannenbergmedia.com. If you're trying to add yourself as an author, you can click add me. Hopefully it works. This is connected to Okta. It won't always work for everyone. The really important thing is that you have that staff : in front of your name. So if you hit add me and it works, that's great. Otherwise, just go ahead and type in your name or the name of anyone else who contributed to the story. And then you should be able to select them from that list and have them say staff. What you don't want to do, you don't want to add somebody as a guest and have them show up with this unknown author organization thing in front of their name. That means it's not connected to the author bio database. If you are ever working with somebody, if you're an editor publishing some new contributors content, or you're collaborating with someone and they don't exist here, go ahead and just add them to the author database. Just create a username, enter first name and last name. You can leave everything else blank. Just create them so that they exist in the system. And then we can go back and fill that in later with more information. You just don't want to publish stories that aren't linked to a working author bio.
Let's go to circulate. This is where you pick what section you're writing for. So if you add a website, what'll come up is like all of the desks at Annenberg Media, and you just pick whichever one yours is under.
So it's called the circulate tab instead of the section tab because ARC's designed so that you could publish the same article on multiple websites. We just publish on the one website. So it's really, when you see the circulate tab, you can just think this is the section tab. I'm going to go ahead and publish my story in sports/volleyball. You can have stories in multiple sections. Whatever's the primary section is what's going to show up at the top of the article.
Yeah, once you have that, you can compose your stories in this tab.
The default template, when you create a new story, it has headline and subhead filled out, reminding you of our style that we use for headlines. So this is one of the most common style errors we see on the site. Headlines are just normal sentence case. You don't capitalize every word. When you go on and write for the New York Times, you're going to capitalize every word, but Annenberg Media, we just write in a normal sentence case. So I'm going to go ahead. You're going to need to delete stuff out of here, and then you can put in your headline. And Same thing, subhead. You can just delete what comes in there. It's just reminding you the style. So yep, where it says enter body copy, this is copy is as in like a copywriter. It just means text. So this is going to be the main text of your story. You can work with this the same way you would with a lot of different text editors. Play around with it, and that's how you're going to get really comfortable. I would point out you can select text, do style edits. You can add hyperlinks to your story. That's great for search engine optimization, as well as adding references to your pieces. If you want to embed something in your story, you just got to hit return, have a new line, and then you'll see all these embeds options pop up over here. You can do a raw HTML embed. You can also just use this social URL tool. If you're trying to add like a Twitter link or a YouTube video, you can just pop that in and it should format it for you. Easy peasy. If you want to add a comment, you can select text. You can just put your cursor somewhere and then hit this new comment button. And you'll see there's something that pops up on the right, just like with a Google Doc. And we can collaborate that way on these documents. You can see the revision history of any story if you hit this revision history button.
The meta tab, I guess it's like everything that describes the story that you don't necessarily see right away. In the description, you have to, a lot of things are like auto-populated with like instructions or just tips. So you delete all of those, and then you can replace the description with your own summary, or you can use the subheadline that you already wrote.
Yeah, so the description can be longer than your subhead. It's okay if you just copy and paste your subhead in here. But the idea is that you do have more space to work with. This is what shows up on Google search results. This is what shows up when your story is featured on the homepage. So you can have 2 to 3 sentences here, whereas you can only have 1 for the subhead, really.
For the SEO keywords, those are what'll help your story get found, like when people are just searching for it. So you want to delete that tag that says add a few keywords people might be searching for here, and then replace it with some of your own tags.
SEO keywords are really important if there's something that lots of people are searching for and it's relevant to your story, but you're not putting it specifically in the headline. So for instance, if you're writing about Caitlyn Jenner running in the California recall election, you're probably not going to put Kim Kardashian in the headline, but Kim is very relevant to this story. Lots of people are searching for Kim. That'd be a great SEO keyword.
Let's say, in this case, let's say Elon Musk would be a good SEO keyword because he's going to be hanging out with the aliens because he loves space. Yep. And then, like Nancy said, just make sure to delete these examples that the story comes with. These are just here to remind you what these fields are for and for style information. Story tags are used for our internal organization. This says treat these like they're publicly visible because we may make them publicly visible at some point. But this would be the kind of stuff like what categories your story falls in. We might make these visible at the bottom of your piece so that if someone wants to read more stories about space or technology, they could click on that and see all of our stuff. So SEO keywords to help get your stuff seen by more people. Story tags are just for our internal organization. All right. And then finally, there's the featured media tab. You're going to need an image for every single story you publish. If you're doing a radio story, you want to get that up there. Think about what image is going to add value to your piece, add meaning, get people interested in reading your.
To add a featured image, you select the media type and the media key. So the media type will always be just an image, and the media key will always be basic. If you select anything else, it will not work. And then you click add media, and you'll see the photo center here. If you already uploaded the image to the photo center, you can select it. But if you haven't, you can upload image by clicking that button in the top right corner. Select the photo template and click select your file. And then click upload.
Cool. So yeah, we're using this tool Photo Center within Composer now, so it can get a little confusing. Make sure you're hitting the right buttons here. There are only 2 fields that you will fill out, but you should fill these out for every photo. They're really important. First of all is the caption. This is the only thing that's publicly visible. So you need to put a caption in the sense of having like a sentence or two that gives more information to the photo. You got to tell people why this photo is here, why they should care about it, and put the photo credit here. So first I'm going to put this. This is a photo of Spider Rock. Is in. I've got my caption, a sentence that adds information and context to this image. That's super important. Please don't skip that. And then I'm going to put a photo credit. So you can see here, the template comes with, if it's somebody on Annenberg Media staff who took the photo, you just say photo by and then their name. If it's someone from the outside and we have permission to use their photo, you're going to say photo courtesy of and then their name. You can credit any outside photographer or graphic designer, however their organization needs to be credited. I took this photo, so I'm going to say photo by Graham Clark. Cool. Make sure you have your caption and your credit in the caption field. And again, photo by person's name if they're on Annenberg Media staff, photo courtesy of if they're outside of our team. You also need to have alt text for every image you upload.
Alt text, basically, it says it right there, but it describes what the picture shows. And it's really important for like accessibility reasons. It'll come up. Well, one, it'll come up if the image doesn't load on a page, so you know what's there. But also, if you can't read it yourself, if you're using a screen reader, this is what the screen reader will read out. So you just want to make sure that it describes like pretty basically what's in the image.
Yeah, so say if it's a photo or a graph, this takes 5 seconds, and this is the number one thing we can do to make our site more accessible to people. This will help with search engine optimization. It's just a really important thing to do to make the internet a better experience for everybody. I'm going to hit save and return once I got that filled out. And then this is where things get a little funky. I'm going to select this as what I want as my featured image. And now I can go down here and hit select in the bottom right corner. And that's telling ARC, okay, this is the photo I want as my featured image for my story. Wonderful. Things are looking good. I'm going to go ahead and save this. I can preview this story and see how it's going to look on the site by hitting this preview eyeball in the upper left. This is fantastic. This is a masterpiece. If you preview your story and then you go and make a bunch of changes and then hit preview again, they're not going to show up right away. Just give it a little time. Otherwise, things are in good shape. I'm ready to share this with an editors. When you want to share your story with someone else, you can just copy the URL up here. I'm going to copy that and you can send that on Slack to anybody who has access to ARC, who has their own login. They can just get that URL and load it that way. That is everything you need to know about the ARC content management system as a Annenberg Media reporter, contributor, writer. Glad to have you aboard and look forward to seeing your work.